Thank
Good
you.
evening,
Thank
everyone.
you.
I'm, I'm Sanjay Kumar Sahu from MCA first year 2024 batch. I'll be hosting you all.
Your voice is breaking, Sanjay.
Yeah.
Is it perfect now?
Oh, yeah, it's perfect.
Yeah, you're audible.
Okay,
Yeah.
fine. I think we're live now. Saurav?
Yes, we are live now. Please start.
Okay, we can start now. Very good evening to all the audience and a very good evening to all our guests as they are on the other side of the world in different time zones. So, very good evening. And hi, Sanjay Kumar Sahu. On behalf of the Alumni Connect team at Department of MCA in Odisha University of Technology and Research, which was formerly College of Engineering and Technology, welcome you all to this alumni third chapter of Alumni Connect session. Uh, I have the privilege of hosting this session, and thank you everyone for joining us. This session is a collaborative effort of Zigbee and Zairza. Zigbee is the student developers club at Department of MCA in our university, and Zairza is the technical club of our university. Surely, we all are proud of the university of our prestigious university that has a unique way of delivering quality technical education, which goes beyond classroom teaching and provide us with non-conventional platforms that help us inculcate and nurture the cutting-edge skills required by the world of computer science. But we are more proud of our alumni network, whose stories inspire us to become better in our respective fields. Today, we have with us three great engineers who have done impactful contributions in tech giants, who will be sharing their experiences and solving our doubts, by which we can get some suggestions, which will help us in achieving our goals in the near future and in the upcoming placement season. Today, the first panelist we have with us is Mr. Tanmay Padhi Bhai from the MCA batch of 2005, who is a senior engineering manager in ATEX8, experience in the field of software development and has worked with tech giants like Apple and Google for multiple years. We are very privileged to have you, Bhai. Welcome to the session.
Thank you.
And next, we have our second panelist of the day, Mrs. Supriya Sinha Devi from MCA batch of 2006, who is currently working as a senior manager in Apple Cloud Services. She has more than 15 years of experience with Amazon, Facebook, and Apple combined. Thank you for joining, Didi. We are very pleased to have you with us. Welcome.
Thank you.
And last but not the least, we have Mr. Manas Ranjan Mahanti Bhai from the batch of 2012 BTech CSE, who is currently working as applied scientist at Amazon Alexa, an immensely talented data engineer who has achieved many leading positions in Microsoft and Amazon. It's great to have you, Bhai. We can start the session now. First of all, I would like to request you to share your journey from the CET to the dream, which is the dream for many of us. You are at the position of in this life. So, firstly, I request Tanmay Bhai, please start with your experience sharing. Please, Bhai.
Sure, Sanjay. So first of all, I would like to give my heartfelt thanks to have me here. And honestly, it's a proud moment for me to be with all of you. I hope my experience will help you in some bit of in your career. But before I share my experience, I just would like to know how much time do I have for this particular question.
I think 5 minutes.
Okay. And just to clarify, I think you want to know how I started my journey with CET and then how I landed up being here and so on and so forth, right?
Yes, Bhai, definitely.
Okay, sure. First of all, I feel proud to be CETian. because it's not easy to get through this college. I'm not sure what's going on right now, but during our time, people, they prepare like rigorously, and they get through Odisha JEE entrance, and then they secure a good rank, both in MC and also in engineering. So engineering is even more tough, is because there are a lot of students they apply. So during my time, I think rank from 13 to 36, they get a placement in CET. And that time, I think the number of students they were applying for getting a seat there, I think around maybe 30,000 plus. So yeah, so but it's, first of all, I was very fortunate enough to be part of CET and also being part of NCA stream, and that's how I started my journey in 2002. And so two things I'll tell you. I think for me, the best thing I learned in my life, in my career, is through my hostel life. So I used to stay at OUT hostel number 3, and the thing is that when a lot of students, they come from different part of Odisha, and it's all different personality, right? So I got to know how the world works when you work in a group, right? So I think that was one of my most, I would say, platinum experience in my career so far. And I hugely learned a lot from each of my friends. So, and we are very well connected because I used to live in the hostel there. So, uh, so that's the first thing that I would like to just let you guys know. Uh, and from my learning standpoint, right? So, like I said, first thing that stands out for me is the personality, right? So, how do you deal with different persona of people, right? And second thing is that how do you react? How do you perceive things when you have different opinions, right? We used to have the reason I'm saying is that it may sound small, but that literally helped me out in my journey so far, right? And when you go for a celebration like welcome or farewell or whatever, right? So you will have different opinion. How do you uh, gauge yourself and convince your friends, and because it's your family, right? So you can't go against them, or you have to basically go and flow with the group, right? So that's something definitely it helped me out to be a better person as I go along my journey. And when it comes to study part, honestly, Supriya knows me pretty well. So I was really a backbencher guy. I never was focusing on study, and literally, if you ask any of my friends even today, oh, there was a book, C programming book by Yaswant Kanitkar. I think I have finished only first chapter. So I would say it was not like I was not really studious during my college days, but few things I really focused on. The first thing, like I said, is like how do I be a better person when I work in a group, and so that my friends will like me and also I will like them, and we grow as a family. And the second thing is that how I'll develop my communication skill. So the communication skill was one of the most priority thing that I focused throughout my career in CET. So I used to go for different PDP programs, personal development programs, and whatnot. So that helped me out to kind of be a better communicator, right? So these are the two things I focused on. But then again, during my time, I think I was lucky enough that there were a lot of campus recruitment that came in. I think first company that came in was Infosys, and I was there, but I did not get through the written test. Then second company was Satyam. I got through Satyam, but again, things fell in place by God's grace. So I used to work for a product called Traffic Server. It was on internet, right? So how do you make the internet fast, right? And then I I was there in Bangalore for a year and a half, and that was a product development role, and it was a good learning experience for me. Then I moved over to US. I used to work for Yahoo, but then one great opportunity that came in from Google, and I was fortunate enough to get through it. I started working for Google Search, which was the the man behind Google's success, right? So, and that was a huge learning experience for me. Okay, so and again. Before that, let me take a step back, right? Since you guys are starting off your career, and some of you, I don't know, maybe you are at third year, or if one of you or some of you are in engineering, maybe you're on your fourth year of BTech, right? So I think for me, my 2 cents would be, first focus. Definitely, I'll tell you, like, don't take me as it is, because when I said I was not focusing much on study, that was not something great about it, because I really suffered when, meaning I had to really burn my midnight oil to kind of grasp all the technology, and so that I was able to uh, be successful at my work. So don't do that. Rather, you focus on the study for sure. Be strong at what you are studying, what you are learning, and then grab a good opportunity, right? So, like, just get through any of the thing. Like, let's say, I don't know right now what's going on, but during our time it was FCFS, fast come fast serve. Any company that came in, you have to you have to be there, and then you get into the recruitment process. Once you get an offer, then they will onboard you, and then you start your career, right? So get through that, and then after that, I think we'll talk about those ones later. But again, coming back to my journey, so then, yeah, so Google was a great experience. Then I was there for 6 years. I learned a lot, and uh, one of the thing I would like to call it out is my manager. So you need a mentor in your career. So I was lucky enough that I had a guy called Arun Pillai. He's still there in Google, and he was the one who really helped me out to kind of know the stuff, and I kind of walked through step by step along with his guidance. And then I joined a startup called Axite. That was back in 2012 end, and that startup experience was something really great. So because when I was a part of Google, it was only 18,000 employees, and then when I left, it was almost, I think, 40 plus thousand, and it was kind of a gigantic organization. I wanted to do something on a startup mode where I would be getting a chance to kind of have more impact, right? And that was the right decision that I took. So when I joined Oxide, it was only 30 engineers, 30. So the whole company was only 30 people. So then I, I did work on 2 brand new products from scratch, and then I was able to onboard the customers, and then that actually helped me out, not only product development, but how do I communicate with the customer? How do I make sure the uh, priorities are met, the ask is met from the customer standpoint, right? So Manas is in Amazon. So Amazon first leadership principle is customer obsession, right? How do you make sure the customer is happy when they're using your product, right? That's something that I learned in Axi. Okay. And then we went IPO, and then it was bought over by HP. So when HP bought it, then I left Axite, that startup company, and then I joined Apple. I was a principal engineer there. In Apple, I was there for 2 years, and again I joined a small company called 8x8. I have been there for I think 4 years. Right now, I'm managing bunch of teams, and yeah. So right now, I'm working as a senior engineering manager. I do still do hands-on. Uh, so when it comes to professional experience, I mean, like when you are going to be having some amount of industry experience, I would say please do not deviate from a technical skill if you want to be in technical route. So have solid grip on it, and also do people management, and then go from there. But again, it depends on the interest. I think that's something we'll discuss later. But yeah, that's pretty much in a nutshell how I landed here, and from 2002 all the way till 2023. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Sahil. I must admit that I was a little nervous, so that how will I host 3 great engineers? But after listening to you, I can say that you have gone through what we are going through right now. So it was a very pleasure listening you. And next, I'd like to request Supriya Didi. Please share your experiences from CET to Apple.
Just a second, guys. Before Supriya starts, Supriya used to be like she was one of the best student in her batch, and literally people, they were looking up to her, and she was really awesome during study. Yeah. Supriya, please go ahead. Thanks.
So, Didi, your video is somehow frozen.
Yeah, I think we lost her. Let me call her.
Okay, and I think she'll be reconnecting. In the meantime, let's start with Manas Bhai. As we would like to hear your experiences as much as we would like to hear from Supriya Didi. Bhai, please go on and share your journey.
Sure, yeah. Yeah, before I begin, just like Bhai, I would like to say it's definitely a proud moment for me. Like it feels like connecting with our roots again. Recently, before this, actually, I also have started like NLP focus group with some of the CET students or OUTR students. I'm really glad, I'm part of this, and I'm honored that I'm part of this panel. So, yeah, coming up to my journey, yeah, back into before that, actually, I would like to make a correction. From my introduction that you gave, I'm not from 2012 CSE. I'm from IT actually, and I'm not like I don't think like I ever had a job role of a data engineer. I was a research scientist, then an applied scientist, and before that, I was actually an associate consultant when I was in Microsoft. Uh, so yeah, coming to my journey after finishing my graduation in CT, I joined TCS in 2012. I was there for 1.5 years. More kamo mainly Oracle ERP rethla. And that actually helped me land an opportunity in Microsoft. So they were looking for consultants basically who have some experience in ERP, both from the technical standpoint as well as the functional standpoint. And yeah, my profile actually was a good fit for them. So that's how I landed that job. And yeah, learning wise, I would say it was like I think the learning that I had in TCS, I would say it was immense. Uh, कोई भी मैंने initially there were a lot of challenges that I faced, especially learning a new technology because ERP was completely new to me. Though I had experience on certain programming languages, but when it came to ERP, it was really fresh and really new for me. So learning wise, it was a big jump for me. And then coming to Microsoft, uh, learning was how to deal with clients because it was completely a client facing job. And more ସେତେବେଳେ experience ବି ବହୁତ ବେଶୀ ନଥିଲା ତ I really didn't know how to basically say no. And in consulting it's a very like mandatory skill that you need to have. You need to understand when to say no, and you need to understand how to give proper estimate for your work. तो ସେଇ ସବୁ assessment ଗୁଡାକ I think ମୋର Microsoft career ରେ ମୁଁ ଶିଖିଲି. And then for a brief period of time I was in Europe as part of my Microsoft consulting journey. And that's when back in 2015-16 I got introduced to this course from Andrew Ng from Stanford University on Introduction to Machine Learning. I took that and I felt, this is something that I can do. And at that point, actually, data science was actually booming. So a lot of my friends were taking like having interest in it, and some of my friends said, कि ना it is completely math, एते deep level रा math हमें करिपरिवनी. So I had like mixed kind of feedback from many people, but after doing that course I realized that this is something I want to do. And by 2017-18 I also like realized कि consulting is actually not my cup of tea. long run re mu eithare mane I don't think long run re I will like this job. So that's when I decided ki I will do something on machine learning. And after spending 6-7 months of time, I realized that this requires full-time academia. Empty weekend report I cannot do it. So that's when I decided that I'll have to go for higher studies. And yeah, I applied for in certain in I think 4-5 universities, and then acceptance as a Northeastern Ru. I did my masters there. It was a very masters was a really good experience. It actually took me back to where I was back in 2012, because जब वो masters करने पे जाई थी I मत एमती लगी थी कि I have 6 years of experience, so job मिलवा will be very easy, and getting back to industry will be very easy. But landing an opportunity like interview opportunity was extremely tough. सो मते भी माने लाइन रे ठिया होगा पड़थला इंटरव्यूज दवा पाई कि माने किछि भी करिया पे लाइन रे ठिया होगा पड़थला जॉब फेयर रे जाएगी भी मु ठिया हली तो so मते it took me back to where I was, but it was a really great experience. It made me humble, and it also made me learn so much. मते मते realize है कि मु बीटेक टाइम रे जते कि पढ़ी थिले और सिखितली it was actually not even a tiny bit of what I needed to know. So ସେଇ 2 ବର୍ଷରେ ମୁଁ ବହୁତ ଗ୍ରୋ କଲି ମତେ ଫିଲ୍ ହେଲା. And yeah, COVID ଆସିଲା, COVID ବହୁତ ସାରା ups and downs ହେଲା ମୋର ମାଷ୍ଟର୍ସ ର ଜର୍ଣ୍ଣି ରେ ବି. And 2020 ରେ ମୋର Amazon ର internship opportunity ଆସିଥିଲା, research scientist internship ର. And yeah, I was able to grab it, and yeah, that was also a good experience, and that helped me land a full-time job in Amazon. I've been working in Alexa since last nearly 2.5 years. Recently last year more a role change called research scientist to applied scientist ko, and yeah, so far I've been liking it, and yeah, looking forward to this discussion. I'm really glad I'm part of it. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Bhai. We have you.
Sure.
I think Supriya Didi is with us, so I'd request Supriya Didi.
Excited to be here, talking to all of you, and it brings memory here on the other side, and time really flies fast. That's what I can say. It doesn't look like it's been so many years. Me coming to CET was a long story. I think I was not from Orissa, so I am from Jharkhand, Ranchi, and my dad was working in Orissa, and that's how I started thinking of doing MCA in Orissa, and then that's how I came to CET. And there was a lot I can look back on that journey, but one of the major things which I learned during my days was adaptability. Change is always constant. Things will change, but the least which we can do is adapt ourselves to that change. And seniors like Tanmay Bhai and all were really great. Like I have so fond memories of Tanmay Bhai from those days. He was very supportive, one of my favorite senior. So it's good to meet him here. So yeah, as I was telling that, I think my major lesson, if I look back, was change and adjusting. Like when I came, I didn't even know Uriya, so I learned Uriya in those 3 years. I could sing songs, and now it's been such a long time that I've forgotten. So sorry, I can't speak in Uriya. It will be a very mixed Uriya Bengali language. So yes, that was CET, and we had a lot of support. I think the college is great, the professors were great, the connections with our friends and seniors was really great. So all in all, it gave the learning which I could draw is that connections go a long way. So make connections, stay connected with your friends as well as colleagues and seniors. As I said, change and adaptability is very important. Then we finished, like when I was in CET, as I was saying, we used to have companies come in, and I got through Wipro. I didn't get through Infosys. So again, another lesson I can say is that things may not happen the way you want, but be patient, keep working, things will change. So then ultimately I got through Wipro, but even then I didn't join Wipro. In that time, there was an external opportunity, there was just an open recruitment which was happening for Verizon. So I went there to Calcutta, and then I took up Verizon. I got that opportunity, and that was a little bit better in terms of salary. So I just went with Verizon at that time. But it was good. Like it was a good experience. I stayed there for 1 year. There was hardly anything which freshers were supposed to do there. Like it was a very big company, lot of people, lot of experience. So at that time, I did OCA and to some extent half of OCP, Oracle certified. So that time Oracle was big. So again, I would say the third thing which I can say is that if you have time, please keep learning, learn something new. I think Manas shared his story, which was very, very inspiring, that shifting to applied science and research science is a big one. So I have a lot of appreciation for you, Manas. But yeah, that is the thing, that keep learning. I think that's important. So I worked for a year in Verizon, and then I realized that, hey, this is not something which I'm enjoying. There's hardly any work. And that's when I shifted to Amazon in India, back in Hyderabad, and then worked there for 3 years, then moved to US with Amazon itself and worked in various teams like Kindle, Marketplace. And I think the adaptability which I had learned from those days, as well as just being always a learner, I think goes a long way. So be curious, keep learning. I think that's one thing which I'll tell. I stayed in Amazon for a very long time, like about 10 years. And then I moved to Meta. So again, the third thing which I think is that if you feel comfortable, get out of your comfort zone. We all feel comfortable at certain place, but don't settle there. Learning happens when you keep yourself, in different environments, change and experience more of different things. So I came to Meta, which was a completely different culture than compared to Amazon. It was very fast paced. Amazon itself is fast paced, but Meta is like every 6 months there's big launches, and it was another different company. I had my own learnings there, with speed, with hustle, like finding opportunities. Stayed there for 3.5 years, worked in ad side of Meta and business, like small and medium business. So we were building products which, help small businesses to succeed on online platforms. I was in somehow by luck, I was in data field. So I stuck to that. Big data was, becoming a big deal, big data processing and data modeling there. All that was catching up. So I pretty much somehow stayed connected to there. And 3.5 years later, I moved to Apple. So here I'm part of Apple Cloud Services team, and I work on iCloud and all of those products for Apple. So again, that's how the journey went. And it is like, as I reflect, it's 15 years, 16 years. It was a long journey, but a lot of great learning. Very thankful to, CET and I look back to our professors. We are still in touch with some of them, some of the students. I have really fond memories. So all in all, I can say that connections matter a lot. Some of the close friends that you make now will be lifelong friends. Same with seniors. You'll meet them again, hopefully. And I think all those connections matter. Reach out, get help, get mentorship. I think Bhai and Manas might have mentioned that too. So yeah, that's pretty much how I got here where I am now.
Thank you very much, Zigbee. Now it's time for the Q&A session. It's time to get the questions from the audience and our batch students. The first question is from Sumanta from MCA first year. First question is, what are those skills and qualities should have in a student to get into a big FANG company like Google, Meta, or Microsoft? As all of you three have switched between FANG companies, we too here have dreams of landing a job in a FANG company. So please answer what are the skills and qualities a student must have to land a job in FANG companies. Any of you can start.
Supriya or Manas, any of you guys want to take?
I can get started.
Yeah, I will give a.
Go
yes,
ahead, Manas.
sorry, Didi, please go ahead.
No, go ahead. No worries. Go ahead.
Yeah, from my experience, I would say you first of all you need to be a good problem solver, right? In whatever role you target or whatever company you are targeting for, at the end of the day, you need to be a good problem solver to do any kind of job, right? So that mindset, that aptitude is something which is always essential. And on top of that, I would say timing is also one key factor, right? The time where exactly, like the time of your career where you are applying for the job. Let's say you might be applying for the job right now, and you might not get the job because of certain factors. But let's say after getting some experience, after let's say you are you know certain things, and after getting to know things, you are applying for the job, and then let's say you are applying for it, you might be ready for it, right? So for me, yeah, couple of things like the aptitude, and also like having the sense, the job that you are applying for, whether you are ready for that or not, right? So those two things are really, essential. But yeah, I'm very sure, Bhai and Didi, they will have better perspectives than me.
No, that was great, Manas. I think definitely I agree that problem solving goes a long way. I think a lot of the things which we study in college and school don't necessarily translate to the real world problem which you'll see in companies. So, how do you given an abstract, ambiguous problem? How are you approaching it? What's your methodology to solve anything? It can be very, very vague. So, how do you do that? That's something which is critical. I think the second thing depends on the discipline you're applying, like if it's an engineering role or a data role or a manager role, is craftsmanship. So, how well do you do your job? Like learning the basics, the fundamentals, the things which will not change. Like I think fundamentals matter a lot. Like whether you know one language versus the other, but as long as you know the basic concepts, I think that goes a long way. So craftsmanship, I would say. And lastly, I would call to behavioral skills. Like ultimately, we are in this environment working as a team in a professional setting. So how do you work with a team? Do you have ability to, have a backbone? Okay, this is my point of view, but when needed, you can disagree and commit. A lot of those skills also matter a lot. And lastly, I would say is one thing which goes a long way, which gets built very slowly. I'm also not there yet, definitely, is like how do you maintain cool even when things are chaotic? Like, can you maintain yourself calm and take it step by step? So I think those four matters, and a lot of the questions which you go through in the interview process test these, like basically your how good you are at the core competencies, how good you are with these behavioral aspects, and how confident and calm and composed can you be throughout the process. So I think those matter in all these companies where I've worked. I'm sure Bhai may have more perspective to add.
No, I think Supriya and Manas, you guys have covered most part of it. Just I would kind of summarize in two aspects, particularly to this question. I think first thing Supriya mentioned about the soft skill, right? So please focus on soft skill, and soft skill is something that, as I mentioned in the introduction part, that's something you can learn in CET itself. Like how do you keep your cool when you work in a group, you talk to your friends, right? There may be some negativity, or there may be some challenge, or there may be some friction, right? How do you deal with that situation so that you can implement throughout your career, throughout your life? That's going to help. Definitely that helped me out a lot. So yeah, definitely focus on soft skill. But how do you be better at soft skill, right? So try to attend some PDP programs. During my time, there used to be a teacher called Mahanti. So I'm not able to recall the first name, but see, he was great. He used to live in Sahid Nagar, and so all I'm saying is try to attend some of these PDP programs that will enhance your soft skill, right? Being in Bhubaneswar, that is a blessing because all the educational institutes are there. A lot of private tuition also that goes on. So try to take advantage of it and be good at it. So soft skill and the technical skill, they have equal weightage. If you're going and trying and getting through a FANG company or MANG company as a fresher, right? So coming to the technical skill, as Manas said, right? So be a good problem solver. But how do you be a good problem solver, right? So I would highly suggest, honestly, today also I have a whiteboard in my study room, in my office room. I do write programs, at least I would say. So right now, actually, I have started it, and I do write programs on regular basis, right? The more you write programs, the more you solve, that will enhance your analytical skill, right? And but that is a practice part. But how do you get in there? For me, I'm a vivid user of LinkedIn, right? So in LinkedIn, there are a lot of Telegram channels. I would highly recommend, and it's all free. Again, please don't be lost in that humongous information. But there are a few people. They have a very informative Telegram channel. You can join those Telegram channel. They, DS algorithm. They can explain step by step across the concepts. You go through it. You study it. You study it, and then you discuss among your friends, being in the hostel, right? So, and practice it, right? Do use the editor, and also buy a whiteboard, try writing that. The more you write programs, the more better you will be as an engineer. And take my word, uh, so it will be a piece of cake when you try to give an interview of any of these companies, right? So again, when I say programming, there are different aspects of the interview process, right? There may be 2 guys or 3 guys, they'll ask you about programmings, right? But there are maybe one round that will be covering of the operating systems and networking and stuff, right? Also, please do equal focus on that area as well, right? So I think that's going to be helping you out a lot. Last but not the least, please, I'm sure Manas and Supriya will agree to it. Read books, read some good books. So right now I'm reading a book called Atomic Habits by James Clear. Okay, so buy those books. I think if like, I should not recommend, but I know being a student, you can go to Unit 1 and you can buy some pirated books. That's going to be pretty cheap. So buy those books, go through it. That actually will help you out to be a different person on daily basis. Like, you can see the transformation within yourself. So please make reading as a habit till the end of, I would say, life. I mean, we all should do it. So the more you read, the more better. And as a human and as a technical person, as an engineer, as a manager, you'll be in the future. So I think that's pretty much in a nutshell.
And one other thing that I would like to add here is, it's always good to fail early, right? So when you are targeting for things like this, you have to understand that you will definitely fail along the way. So don't be afraid of failures. Actually, failures will teach you, how to present yourself, how to carry yourself, how to strategize for things. But yeah, the early you fail, better it is for you, right? So to fail early, you have to start early. That's why I think one point that Bhai mentioned earlier during our discussion is, final year you don't waste your time. You have enjoyed, so now don't waste any time. Prepare yourself for things that you're aspiring for. Don't be late at something that you might regret later. So yeah, that will be, 2 additional cents that I'll add here.
Okay. I'm sure these suggestions would help us a lot in the near future as placement season is coming up. And the next question is, there are actually two questions I would like to combine. That what factors matter the most while making a switch between companies, and what are the difficulties that you have faced?
Sure. Manos, I'll take that.
Sure,
And
please.
then you and Supriya can add it later. So first of all, Sanjay, so let's say you get an entry point, right? It could be Fang, Mang, or any other company. Like for all of us, we started with Satyam or TCS or Wipro or whatever, right? So, but once you put your foot on the ground and be in that space, eventually your pores will open up. You'll get to know, okay, what interests me, where you think that, okay, this is something that I would really want to do, and I want to grow, and I want to be successful, right? That's something, it should come from within, right? That nobody can say, hey, do this or do that. That you have to get that feel of like where I should grow and where I should go, right? Like in IT field, I think there are 5 sections I'll talk about. So one is product management, then second aspect is product development, third is UXD, user experience designer, and then fourth is going to be tools and infrastructure, which is coming under quality engineering. Then fifth is going to be ops operations, right? And then of course there is data engineering, where you have to utilize your AML skill and all those stuff. And so pretty much it's like these 5 or 6 aspect of it that all industry goes, right? Now once you have that gut feeling, okay, this is the way how I want to pursue my career, or you have the strong conviction that, okay, this is the way how I want to grow myself, then you look for the companies who are the best of the breed in that area, right? And then you prepare and you tune yourself, right? As Manas said, okay, hey, I want to be like he was I believe he said that he was a research scientist, and then he wanted to move into applied scientist, right? And that's right, Manus?
Yeah.
So then he kind of tuned himself and then moved into that direction. So all I'm saying is that try to see which way once you put your foot on the ground and you kind of be in the industry for a year or 2 years, you will automatically get to know where you want to grow and what you want to do, right?
Exactly.
Based on that, you fine tune yourself, you learn, you study. Again, it's related to the first answer that we all we all discuss here, but utilize those points and then try to be part of best of the breed, because you already have the the entry point right now. To grow further, now you have your options, right? And then work towards that, and then go from there. The difficulties, I would say, is especially, I think the most difficult part is going to be like what exactly you want to do. Like that's something you should be really convinced, right? So because a lot of people even today, if they're like 20 years of experience, they're doing something that they don't like and they want to be just they want to get out of it, but they're stuck, right? That a lot of the professionals, they really struggle, right? And I think that's going to be a nightmare, and that's not going to take anyone anywhere. So you'll be dangling forever, right? So that's is going to be dangerous. So I think that is one of the most difficult and complex challenge. But uh, but at least for me, uh, like I said during my journey, right? So since I worked on the product on the day one, so it was on internet, so that's something that actually fascinated me. Like when I got to know about client server technology, when I got to know HTTP protocol and stuff, then I knew, okay, what I need to do, then I pursue further, right? So mm so I think the difficulty is that get to understand what exactly you need to pursue, and then kind of work towards that, to put your foot on that ground, on that aspect, and then be successful there. That's pretty much from my side.
If you're ready or Manasai, you can add to
You're on
that.
mute, Sanjay. Yeah.
Am I audible?
Yeah.
Diti, you can add to that,
Yeah.
and Manasai.
I would say, Bhayankara Jati experience, the answer Bhai gave, it's completely holistic. I don't think, I could give a better answer than that. Definitely, first you need to know, what exactly you want to do. Say, once you are clear about that factor, that will, help you drive other decisions, such as, whether you are ready for the job role, or you are ready for the position that you are targeting for or not. And end of the day, compensation is something that is also that's definitely going to be a factor. And as you progress in the industry, you will realize like how to balance those things, like compensation versus your career growth, all those things. So yeah, you have to, as Bhai said, you have to give yourself time to realize certain things. But yeah, as Bhai said, the major factor is going to be your clarity regarding what you're aspiring to do.
I missed the question, but I'll just add one thing. I think Tanmay Bhai and Manas covered mostly everything. I think the world has changed so much that there's so much to learn through online content now, like LinkedIn, the YouTube videos which is out there, Coursera courses. There's so much. I think main thing, as Bhai was saying, if we figure out what you want to do, you can learn it. So I think that I feel really good in this new world, that there's so much opportunity to learn. Earlier it was also only books mostly, but now there's so much content and so much courses which are really good. At anywhere in the world you can sit and get lectures from the best professors. So I think that goes a long way in just identifying and getting up to speed on what new skills you want to learn.
Okay. Now the next question will be, uh, what the biggest confusion of our day-to-day life is, what should I focus more on, DSA or development? What is the key to crack a product-based company? Tanmay bhai, you can start.
What's the question? Missed.
What should I what should I focus more on, DSA problem solving or on software development, like web development?
I think the question is that, Supriya, they're asking like DSA versus product development, like which area they should focus more on, right? And then I think the second part was, what was that, Sanjay? Sorry, I missed that.
What is important to crack a product-based company?
Product-based company, yeah.
Yeah, more तो इथरे answer बहुत ही limited because web dev side रे my knowledge is very limited. DSA side रे I have experience, but yeah, web dev side रे I don't know. Full stack development side रे भी more experience है तटा नहीं. So I don't think I am the right person to answer this one.
I'll share my insight. So Sanjay, I think I'm a little confused about the second part. So I think you were asking, should we do core product development or should we do the UI development, right? The web development. Is that what your question is?
Like nowadays, students are focusing on placement, so they are interested in DSA problem solving, but they need to have good projects on their resume. So do we need to stay focused on development side?
Yeah. So, but before I jump into the answer, first of all, I would like to. I'm really impressed the way even there are ample amount of students here, but good that you guys have been already motivated. You want to do something in your career, right? That's why you are already in this forum. You're organizing it, and hats up to all of you, right? And definitely you are already ahead of the game. So. Otherwise, CT being such a great college and so many students there, and why there are so less number of students, right? So thanks for that. But coming to a question, don't be confused by DSA or OS, operating system, networking versus product development, right? So it's all interrelated. If you want to apply for a product company, like we talked about Mang or Fang, right? Or you talk about Adobe or Palo Alto Network, there are some of the best of the breed companies in the world, right? And they are mostly situated in Silicon Valley, their head office. So these are all product companies, okay? So if you want to place yourself as a fresher, that we already discussed, I don't need to go through that. But if you want to be a hardcore engineer, product developer in all these product companies, I would say you have to be really strong in DSA, data structure and algorithm, for sure. Okay. And how do we do it? We already discussed. So try to solve problems and write programs in whiteboard and get going. And then on top of it, also be very thorough in operating system, right? And also networking. Like if you try to solve a problem, but you exactly don't know, okay, how the HTTP protocol works, right? So somebody will ask you, okay, hey, you go and you type www.google.com. What actually happens beneath the hood, right? So then you have to really walk him through the whole layer, right? The network layer, like all those 7 layers, okay, how each of the requests that goes, then how the request reaches the server, how the response comes in, whether you get 200 okay or 4xx or 5xx or 1xx, right? Or 3xx, what do you mean by that? So all I'm saying is that it's all interrelated. So definitely you have to be a good problem solver, but on top of it, you have to be also very strong and thorough. Make your fundamentals very clear. One of the important thing is, please do not try to remember things. Do not, yeah, you have to make things by heart, but again, be very clear on fundamentals. That's the key. So you may say that, okay, yeah, so I send a request, but I get a 2xx response, I mean 200 okay response, but somebody may ask, okay, what do you mean by 201 or what do you mean by 202, right? So those things, that comes down to fundamentals, right? So first, my point would be, please definitely be stronger DSA, but again, on the same note, give equal weightage to all the other areas like networking and operating system, for sure. Those are the 2 areas that's going to come in the interview for sure. Okay. And then second thing is going to be, when it comes down to your strength, be fundamentally clear. Make sure you know what you're saying and have that fundamental aspect of everything that you're learning. I think those 2 things, if you do, definitely things are going to just fall in place. That's what I I think, and I hope it makes sense to you all.
I'll just add to that. I think the one thing which on the product company you were asking, as I think what Bhai said about fundamentals, the data structures, it goes in every interview. So I think that concepts being very clear is very important. For product companies, the one thing which I think helped me, I pretty much stayed mostly with product companies, pretty much started there also, is just product sense and product thinking. Like there's so many white papers out there, right? Like read about marketplace, how Amazon marketplace was formed, Meta also, there's so many projects. So read about the business idea. And one thing which I think at least Apple and Amazon I've seen, the customer obsession. What does the customer need? What's the customer problem you're trying to solve, or the business problem you're trying to solve? And working backwards from that helps a lot. That is a mindset which we can cultivate by reading through, by thinking of these products. So I think that really helps. And one other thing which I've seen in these companies is versus some of the other companies which I heard is there's nothing which is not your job. You're owning the product. So think of yourself as the CEO of this space. There's nothing which is, oh, that data part is not my job. You can think through end to end. So I think that is one differentiation to help build a product mindset. Like think of end to end, think from customer and think from the business problem.
Thank you for answering that, Didi.
So one thing though, Sanjay, sorry for the interruption. One thing though, so please, when you guys start your career and then after certain years, 2 years or 3 years, let's say somebody may not be, because in the brain there is left brain and there is right brain, right? So left brain is smart in doing certain things and right brain is smart in doing certain things, right? So the guys who are really good in programming and stuff, that's the left brain, right? I mean, it's something, it comes naturally, right? If you think you are struggling in programming, you are not really good at coding and stuff, right? But that's not the only way that you should only pursue, right? That's very, very important. The reason is because I have seen people, they want to do it because society and the friends they respect, okay, oh, he is a product developer, or he is so and so forth, right? Please do not get biased based on the what outsiders think, right? Rather, what I would suggest is that after few years of career experience, when you guys figure it out that okay, this is something that I want to do. Let's say it could be testing, right? So in testing there are like tools and infrastructure. Like you build some tools, you build some infrastructure, you build that CI/CD pipeline. That's something amazing. You can be VP, SVP and whatnot, right? And let's say somebody wants to do SRE job or site reliable engineer. Like all I'm saying is that there are different aspects of engineering, there are different aspects of development. So please do not stuck only with product development like coding. If you are good at it, then definitely go for it. But if you're not feeling confident, or if you're feeling that okay, this is something that I should not pursue because I'm not going to be successful, try to find other alternatives and then go through that route. And people have done amazing stuff in other areas too. So that's one of the very key point that I would like to just bring it up to you guys.
Thank you for answering that. Now the next question is about ML and especially for Tanmay Bhai to answer from Ankita, one of the organizing member of our team. Ankita, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Hello, Bhai.
Hi, Ankita.
So my question is, what are the recommended steps or pathway for a fresher who has interest in machine learning to establish themselves as a machine learning engineer or a developer within an organization?
Yeah, so Ankita, it's a great question, but I am not a AML guy. I'm not into AML space at all. I think Manas and Supriya, they may give you the best answer. But if anything that I think, later on I can add my pointers.
Sure, Bhai.
Sure, I can take it. Yeah, can you please repeat question once?
Yes, Bhai, sure. So my question is, what are the recommended steps for or the pathway fresher who has interest in machine learning or to establish themselves as a machine learning engineer or a developer within an organization like or product based company?
I see. Okay. So whoever is interested in anything which has to do anything with ML, I would strongly recommend this course from Andrew NG that I think mentioned during the beginning of our conversation. It is extremely good for someone who does like who knows nothing about machine learning but has some basics about math. You have like some basics about some other things that is part of your curriculum, but you don't have any experience in it. So if you just go through it, that will help you understand what are the fundamentals of this area. uh, Coming to development, it has a lot of commonality with any like other software development engineer role. So that side, you will have similar kind of, there is a lot of intersection, right? So as Tanmay was saying, like you have to be very thorough in DSA, you have to be very thorough about design patterns. So those things will always be there, but there will be certain nuances for machine learning. Like in machine learning, latency is one of the like core criteria while you are developing a model, right? So for example, all these new age generative AI models, so let's say you are a machine learning engineer, so one of your core competencies will be how can you design a system which can utilize that model, but it should have a targeted throughput, or it should have a targeted latency. So to solve that problem, you need to have like your programming, not only your programming backbone but your design pattern backbone should also be stronger, right? So those fundamentals plus the basic machine learning fundamentals, I would say, is something that you should begin with. And then yeah, preparing for the interviews will be something that you should do next. But yeah, first you should, I would say, take a look at the fundamentals, go through them, have an understanding that whether this is something that you want to do or not, this is something which is of interest to you or not, and then go to the next steps. Yeah. I don't know whether I answered your question, but yeah, this is something, that I would suggest.
I think I'll just add to one thing to Manas's point is that ML is a specialization. So as he mentioned very clearly, the fundamentals stick nonetheless. So fundamentals on data structures, design, they stick nonetheless. And you may sometimes it might be hard to land a job as a fresher as an ML engineer if you don't have specialization or any particular your courses speaking onto it. But don't get disheartened by that. I think even when you're in a company, you will see around problems that you can solve. Can you build, you see this business problem, the data in your spare time, can you build something out of that, some model which would help the business, and that also helps. So I think trying out basic problems which are out there. There's a lot of data also out there. Like my husband is in a team in Amazon on deep learning. So they have this racing cars. So you get that car and you train the car, and there's a competition where you can participate and all that. So there's so much out there where you can try your hands on this problem that I think a lot you learn also by doing and actually solving these problems. So as I was saying, that it may not be something which you may be able to really start always, but that doesn't mean that there is no path. You can always look for opportunities, even though if you start as a product developer, or you'll see those problems and just try it out. I think that goes a long way as well.
Yeah. And one other thing that I would like to say, I don't want to digress a lot, but one other thing that I would like to say here is it is highly likely that you are aspiring for something, but the first job that you will be part of, it might be completely different than your aspiration, right? So as Didi said, don't be disheartened by it. And it is like more than, I would say, more than 90-95% possible that you will be put into something that you may not like or you may not have no idea about. It is very likely, right? So what matters the most in that case is your attitude towards it. Don't always think that straight away you will be given machine learning problems in the company, or very interesting problems that the company has. I don't think like anyone can get straight away things like that. So at that point, what matters the most is your attitude towards learning something, right? What you are given, what task or what job you are given, how exactly you are taking that, and how exactly you are performing there. I think that is something that matters in a long run. So always be curious, as Didi said, like try to learn something like that, try to learn it as part of your job, try to implement something as part of your job, and that's how you can build a path of your own also. So yeah, please keep this also in mind. A lot of because I completely relate to this. When I joined TCS, all of us thought, okay, we need development project, we need development project, I need projects in Java, I'm good at Java, I need projects in Java. But that attitude never helps, right? Because ସବୁ project Java ରେ ନଥିବ, there will be projects in mainframe, which is a very old technology, but you are like ତମକୁ ମିଳିପାରେ ସେ କାମ. So your attitude will matter the most at that point. ତମକୁ ସେଇଟା ଶିଖିବାର ଅଛି, ତମେ କୋଉ କେମିତି attitude ଦେଖେଇକି ଶିଖୁଛ, that's what will help you build your career path also. So yeah, please keep that in mind.
One thing, Manas, so the Andrew NG, anyway, he's a great guy, so I know him pretty well.
Yeah.
So, like when you said about the courses, does he have any channel or something? Like,
No, he has a course. So he used to have a single course only on machine learning called Introduction to Machine Learning in Coursera. I think right now he has 4-5 specialization in machine learning, but that Introduction to Machine Learning is still there. So you can always start with that.
Where is that? Where can I find it? On just
Coursera.
Coursera. Okay, got it.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I think Supriya and Manas, they covered pretty much Ankita, so I think you should be good to go.
Thank you, bhai. Thank you, Didi.
Okay, now the next question is about AI, which is the talk of the town recently. And there are many questions actually on AI. First, let's hear from you about your views on AI and the use of AI in companies. And then the next question will be, what we as freshers need to apply for AI-based rules.
Okay.
Maybe one of you guys can take it.
Yeah, I can start. For your first question is like, what are our opinions on AI in industry right now? Or is that the first question?
Yes, right.
Okay, so yeah, AI is definitely the talk of the town, at least for this year, especially after ChatGPT came into picture. Before that also generative AI was there. Before there also like transformer based models were there, but ChatGPT did this paradigm shift, right, in AI, where people have started expecting lot more from AI than they were expecting since last year. So definitely there is a shift in industry. A lot of the companies, they are also changing their strategies, they are realigning their strategies because of this. And for us also, it is definitely big learning curve this year. Some of our prioritizations have also been changing because of that. And AI ର ୟୁସେଜ ଯଦି ଆମେ ଦେଖିବା ତ I think almost everyone here is familiar with what ChatGPT can do. But please don't be confused that this is the end, or this is something like, okay, ChatGPT is going to make a lot of job profiles or job roles obsolete. That is definitely a myth. So don't think don't think about that. It is for sure some of the problems that we thought we will not solve in next 5 or 10 years, those were already solved by ChatGPT. Some of the research that we were doing till last year, those became obsolete because these like new age generative AI models, they are already like solving problems like that. But having said that, there are new problems that we are having to solve. It is definitely an exciting space to be in. And to answer I think your second question was for a fresher, like what should be the strategy to get a job in this like in the AI space. Yeah, you have to read a lot. That is something that I would say. You have to read a lot. There's a lot to cover. So start from the basics. Learn about all these transformer based models. Transformer is definitely a key concept that you should be thorough about. Think we can do, for example, ମୁଁ ଏବେ ଯୋଉ ଏଇ OUTR student ମାନଙ୍କ ସହିତ ମୁଁ start କରିଥିଲି, so we are thinking of a project right now. So one of the key things that you have to think about is what exactly you can do with the kind of resources you have, because all these new age models, they require a lot of infrastructure, which typically like a student cannot have, right? So in that case, what you can do, so those are some of the things you have to think of. Then you can think of some projects that are interesting to you, and then you can start by solving them using these methods. But yeah, first I would say, you have to read a lot, you have to understand things, you have to get the fundamentals right before jumping onto, like, I would not say target a job directly, target a role directly. First understand what you need to be thorough at, and then cover those basics before thinking about a job profile or a job role right now. Yeah, I gave a very lengthy answer, but I hope I answered your question.
But one thing to add though, as a well-wisher and as a senior, please don't. I think Manas and Supriya, they covered that part a little bit. So do not run behind AML. I know artificial intelligence is one of the hotcake in the market. Everybody wants to do AML. So, but remember, if you don't have a background on AML, nobody is going to take you as an AML engineer, right? Either you have to have it as part of your course curriculum, then they will just take you, okay, you come and do this job, right? So if you already have it as part of your course curriculum, then definitely go for it. If not, it's fine. Get an entry point, be strong what you're doing, be good at what you're doing, and then pursue the opportunity that if you're really interested for AML, then definitely look for those opportunities and then grab it and then go from there. What I'm saying is don't be stuck with AML if that's not part of your course curriculum, because otherwise it's going to be in the back of the head, and then it's going to be like not a good experience.
Yeah, I think Bhai and Manas covered mostly. The only thing I'll add is I feel very excited about all these, like all of us. I think there's a lot of hope. There's a lot of things this will bring. There are also challenges like with privacy and, what data will be used to train these models. So all the companies which I've seen this privacy being a big, getting really big. What data we collect from users, how do we use it? So those challenges will be there. As Bhai was mentioning, it's one shiny object, but it's not the object only to go after. Stay connected to the fundamental, learn the basics. It's very, very hard to get fresh from school and get a job in ML or AI. Take part of your job, learn on the job, do the courses which Manas was highlighting. I think that has gone a long way, because I've seen this trend. When I was starting, we didn't have that much on ML, so these courses came right in front of my eyes, and I've seen a lot of people who learned these courses, did some problems while during their day job, shift gears and move on to ML and all those fields. So I think it will be a little bit that kind of a path there. So yeah, that's what I would say to your last part of the question, Sanjay, that we should not run after that for now, in my opinion. Like, take it. If it's something which interests you, carve time, learn it, and then eventually I'm sure you'll get there.
Thank you everyone for answering that. The next question is from Priyanka from our MCA first year batch. Priyanka, you can unmute yourself and ask.
Good evening, Bhai. Good evening, Nitin. My question is, as a fresher, I should prefer for startup company or reputed?
So let me reframe the question. She is asking about should we opt for startup or MNC?
Yeah, so I think I'll take that. I'll spend maybe a minute or two, and then Supriya and Manas, please feel free to add your inputs as well. So I got a chance to work on a startup. Like I said, we were only a company of 30 engineers. Then it grew up to 400 plus people. Then it went public, and then I left. And also I got a chance to work on few of the big companies. So it depends what you want to do, right? So it all comes down. So there is no right or wrong answer. Some people want to uh, go and do some stuff in a big reputed brand companies, best of the breed, and then make some influence, make some impact, and grow, right? Some people, they want to rather prefer to only stick to startup for right reasons, and then they just want to grow from there, right? And some people, they want to get experience from mix and match, like myself, right? So there is no right or wrong answer. But if you want to do something that do something from the scratch, right? So let's, for example, 1.0 GA product, right? I don't think it's possible to do in big companies like Google, Apple, or Meta, or Amazon, or any or Netflix, right? Or it could be Adobe, or it could be Palo Alto Network, like all the best companies, right? It's not going to be possible, but definitely that's going to give you learning curve. But again, on the same note, you're going to there is going to be like definitely challenges working in a startup, like in terms of finances, right? Because you don't know when you're working for a company which has only 30 people and no customer, right? So you have to onboard the customer. But then on the same note, let's say the customer is not going to buy your product, then what's going to happen there? If you see the statistics, only 1% companies in the world, they get successful from the startup mode, right? Only 1%. I would say even less than 1%. In Silicon Valley, like I have seen in my own eyes, tons of companies, they get bankrupt and then file chapter 11, and then they get closed, right? So that is there. But if you want to take that risk and you want to learn and do something from scratch, definitely go for it. But again, on the same note, if you want to go for bigger companies where, like I said, you want to add some feature or do some fantasy kind of things on top of the existing ones, then definitely go for it. And that will definitely give you a lot of learning curve. You will learn it, and also you will try to get a chance to work with a huge crowd in the team, and that will also give you good experience. So it all depends on your choice, like what you want to do and how you want to grow. But every aspect has its own advantage, disadvantages. So it's all your call. But I just gave my insight, what I came up to.
I think I'll add just one thing, that everything is learning. So wherever the thing matters is to be a lifelong learner. Every experience teaches you something. I think I don't know how the trends are now, but when we were there, we were not thinking whether it's a product company or whether it's startup. That time startups were not that frequent too, but whether it's a consultancy, just let's get the job, and then we see, and over time you realize what you really want to do, whether you want to work from scratch and build 0 to 1 where there's not a lot of processes and everything, or you feel more settled in a structured environment. So it tells you learn over time. And again, there's there's never a time that, oh, I'm here, I'm stuck here, right? You can always make a change. So that's what it used to be. So I would say that I don't know how the campus placements and all go now, but even if you don't start there, it's not the end, right? You can always see that what speaks to you, and you can start a smaller company. You can go with both the side of the experience, like Bhai said. I've mostly stuck to bigger side of the companies. I've seen there's good learning. When I was in Amazon, it was very early, it was very small. So back in 2007, 8 when I started. So I saw those fields sometimes there in some teams. But again, startup is another story of its own. So it's a lot of experience. I hear it's chaotic. It's more satisfying sometimes. Some people feel it more frustrating because there's not process and all. So it depends on what speaks to you. There's no right or wrong answer that everybody takes. But I would just say that even if it doesn't happen day one, there's never an end. You can always try out new experiences along the way and just expose yourself to different, both the sides of the house. Yeah.
Yeah, भाई एंड दीदी very well said. मते जदि 2 years आगु पचार थांदो कि 2012 रे पचार थांदो, my answer would be just give me anything, right? किसी भी जो भी दे दो जिससे मेरा रेंट भर रहा है, I am happy with that. So on a serious note, if you have options, of choosing between a startup and a well-established company, let's say, so Jayati, both Bhai and Didi said, one fundamental difference that I have like observed is, in established companies, a lot of the processes and structures are already there. You don't have to work on some of the processes or structures, but in a startup, uh, I was mentoring for a startup. That's how I was doing some pro bono kind of a work for a startup. That's how I know about this. But in a startup, things are not processed or structured as in a as in a well established company. So you might have to do few things out of your typical job profile that you think of yourself. But as both of them said, it's that gives you immense amount of learning. The kind of learning that you will have in a startup, you will never have that volume of learning in a well established company. And at the same time, there are risk factors associated with it, as by mentioned. You don't know what will happen, but you have to you have to play with that risk. You have to get in with that risk. So yeah, just thinking about these factors, you have to make the decisions. And yeah, there is no right or wrong decision. It's completely based on what exactly you want and in which situation you are currently in. Yeah.
Thank you for answering that. And the next question is, can we switch to? Is there anything left, Priyanka? You can ask.
Yes, thank you. Thank you. Can you add one more question?
Sorry, you are not audible enough.
Go for it, Priyanka.
Can I add one more question?
Yes, yes.
Yeah, please.
I want to know that which field has more opportunity nowadays? Which field of development?
I think I got the first part, which field has more opportunities, but I missed the second part of your question.
Yes, I want to know that which field of development has more opportunities nowadays.
Okay. You mean which technology has more opportunities?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Honestly, I don't know. Like, I am not aware of the current trends in the market. I can answer, something if something is specific to my job role, but I don't know the current market trends, and especially like in India, I don't know what are the current trends, so I don't think I can answer this.
So, Priyanka, one thing, right? So I think we kind of briefly touched base on that. There is like it's not going to be like, okay, you pick A and you get the best out of it, or you pick B or you get the best out of it, right? So it doesn't work that way. So it all depends on what you are interested for, right? If you're really interested to do something and you want to really, it's your passion, no matter what it is, if you want to do that, you will definitely grow and you will be the best, honestly speaking, right? So but which technology or which uh, role or what type of you know um, profile is going to be attractive, I would say here in Silicon Valley, I think first thing that comes down to is the full stack role. If somebody has experience or knowledge on both web development, the front end and also the back end, right? So that's going to be really great because he or she has experience of both the world, right? Both side of the world. And of course, then one of the other areas, I think Manas and Supriya, they're already into AML, right? AML is a hot cake. Even if companies, they're not I have a friend who is working for Palo Alto Networks. So recently they just announced last week they're releasing a software who is going to detect a threat in a software, in enterprise software, by using the AML, which is totally like false news, but they just want to broadcast it so that people will get to admire the company. And on the same day, the stock bumped up by I think 7 to 8%. The company's Palo Alto Network. Like it's the hotcake right now. I think that's one of the other area also. I would say everybody wants to explore and get to know. That's what I was taking a note of it when Manas was talking about Andri and Joel. That's what I asked him that, okay, where I can find out the course. So yeah, so I think these are the two areas you can focus on. But again, if you want to do stuff anywhere else, that's also totally fine. I don't think anybody is going to stop you, or meaning like anybody is going to stop you from growing what you are today and what you're going to be in the future.
I think you have got the answer, Priyanka.
One thing though, Sanjay, I just would like, so just I have one point to add. First of all, Manas, thanks to you being, I'll tell you during our time. So there is a thin layer between BTech and NCA. So the relationship was great, but it's basically people don't know each other. Like they feel they are in a different stream. MCA guys, they think they're in a different stream, right? But and thanks to you that you are part of the panel, you try to help out these kids. It's amazing. But one thing I would like to just call it out, Sanjay. I think it'll be great if you can just bring everybody together. Like I don't know how do you do or what do you do. Announce it with the BTech guys, and then also with all your folks, right, from NCS team, so that if there's going to be a bigger forum, maybe you can bring in some other, because I think SEED has produced enormous talents, and I think there are few folks that are in really pretty successful in their career path. So I know few people, few of them, they have their own companies, they're living in US itself, and some people they are actually kind of they're in VP, SVP and stuff, right? So those guys will just definitely give you a different perspective, right? So the more you make it like bigger, I think that's going to be more beneficial for all of you guys. So try to connect both the worlds, BTech and NCA, so that more people will come, and also try to also be make like for us, like being part of the panel, you can bring in BTech folks, you can bring in NCA, other NCA folks as well. I think just one feedback, or I would say one suggestion I was interested to give.
I will surely try to do that for the next time. And there is another question from Chandrakant, our organizing team member, that can we switch to management positions after joining in as a software engineer? And how to do that, like product manager role.
Oh, I see.
I can take a stab at that. This looks like the question at other roles. As an engineer, a full stack engineer, for instance, and you want to move as a product manager. Is that the question?
Yes, it is.
Okay. Yeah. So I think that definitely, as I said earlier, that one thing we should be careful about is what do you want to do, and that's a process of realization which happens as you work. You want to realize, okay, product managers is something that is interesting to you, or a data field is interesting or interesting, or whatever that may look like. I think some of the companies, a lot of the companies which I've seen are open. Like when the company is small, first of all, the boundaries are not that well defined. So you may be able to do a lot of things. Like you may be a developer, but you can think from a product perspective, and that's when your interest might be realized in product management role. So I think then the move becomes natural because you gain experience there, you work there, and then you can make a move. Some companies have formalized paths as well. Like as long as you come in, you establish yourself, you deliver and gain that trust, people are able to take bets on you as well. So I think that also helps. Like some places, this will be a very well-defined transition. So I think look out for the opportunities which is out there. But to make yourself prepared, I think the first thing that matters is, reading about it. Like, where do you want to change? Are you a full stack developer and you want to become a product manager? How are you up leveling yourself in that direction? Like, what courses you're taking, what online material or white papers are you reading? That matters a lot, right? So I think one thing is to realize from where you are and where you want to go and making yourself ready for getting that skill. And secondly, there is exposing yourself to those opportunities in a role. Like in some of the companies which I've been, there was like you hack a month. So in 1 month you go there in another team and hack we call it hack a month, kind of, that you're going in that team and trying out a role or trying out a project. So if those opportunities are there, you can expose yourself to that as well in your career. But I think learning and then finding that opportunity in whichever company you are would be the way to go. And sometimes it's often hard if you're not a product manager. Applying in another company as a product manager becomes tricky. But if you set that, if you have done well in the interviews and if you set that expectation and share your aspirations, that's always helps, because people are then open that if there's an opportunity which comes up, they can think that this person has expressed interest, they have already gained trust and delivered on things which were assigned to them. So that goes a long way. So I think those will be the three things I'll call out. That also make your aspirations known sometimes is also helpful. But Bhai and Manas can add more thoughts.
I have 2 points. So first point is, please listen carefully. Don't take this decision too early in the game. Okay. So first, like I said before, first stay your foot on the ground. Be strong what you are doing. Try to learn the stuff. Be good at it. Be the best what you are doing, right? Then after that you take a decision, right? If you want to be like in management, there are different types of management, right? If you want to be an engineering manager, right, so then you have to know the difference. What is the difference between IC versus being a manager, right? So some people, they want to pursue being an IC, and there is no up or down. So like if you're a principal engineer, that is almost equivalent to a director, okay, or senior manager. If you are a distinguished engineer, you are a IC, individual contributor, but it's equivalent to a VP, right? So there is no right. So some people, they get kind of like they are not clear, and that's why they want to pursue into management, because they feel that being a manager is kind of a high level role, but it's not that. So it depends. It all comes down to your passion, what exactly you're interested in doing, and then definitely go for it, right? So when you're a manager, there are a lot of complex challenges, right? Like you have to be breadth oriented. You need to know what A, B, C, D is holding, and then how you can turn the table around to your favor and bring your team to the same level, and then get going, right? So it's a holistic together. And being a IC, again, it is depth oriented. Like you have to really go and be strong, be pro at what you are doing, be strong at your tech stack or whatever you're doing, be SME in what you're doing on your day-to-day basis, right? So once after a few years of experience, get to know, your pores will be like totally opened up. You'll get to know with a clear vision, and then you go from there. So that's, I'm talking about IC versus engineering manager, like development manager or SRE manager or whatever that you call it out. But when it comes down to product management, again, that's a different ballgame. So if you want to be a pro in product management, right, meaning you want to pursue that opportunity, that as Supriya said, so you cannot just go and join as a product manager as a fresher, right? You have to prove it, you have to learn it, and then you go and showcase your talent, and if you are a right fit, they'll take you, and then you go from there. But product manager definitely has a lot of awesome opportunities and advantages. Like there are few product managers, they are CEOs of the company, like Google, Sundar Pichai. He used to be a product manager in Chrome, and right now he is a CEO. And if you think of I think Apple, Tim Cook, he was not a product manager, but he was a supply chain management guy. So he was a VP of SCM, and that's now he became a CEO, right? So again, coming back to the answer, so like if you are really interested to craft the vision of the product, then definitely go for it. But that's something that you get to know once you take your first step into your career. Like after some time, you'll get to know after some years.
Thank you, Bhai. I think we have got the answer. The next question is about what are the mistakes that we should avoid in coding interviews or in technical rounds?
What are the? Sorry.
What are the mistakes we should avoid during coding interviews or technical rounds?
Yeah, I think I like that. And Supriya Manas, please feel free to add your points. This is a great question, by the way, and I think this is totally apt for you guys. So when you go for a technical like coding round, right? So there is a book. I would, like I said, you guys please try to be a vivid reader of technical books, non-technical books, right? And uh, the book is uh, cracking the coding interview. Okay, that's the book name. You can buy it from Amazon, and so go through it definitely. But I'll talk about the gist of that book. So when you try to uh, get into that round, so first is clarify the questions. Don't jump into the solution. That's the first part. The second part is going to be write the pseudocode, right? So do not start writing the program. I don't know what language you guys are comfortable with. Don't write like, okay, public static void main and then, public static. So like, don't start writing the methods and then start writing the logic right away. So write the pseudocode first and then do a dialogue exchange. Make sure the interviewer, he is clear what you're trying to do, right? And say that, okay, hey, this is the approach I'm going to do. Are you okay with it, right? So have that conversation, make it like a date, right? So you say something, hear it out from what other guy says, and vice versa, right? And once that is clear, then try to write. You can use brute force or you can use efficient approach, right? uh, and then like use any proper data structure to solve that problem, right? So let's say you did not recall. I'm trying to cover up all the areas, like that's the third point that I'm talking about. When you talk about, let's say nothing is coming up to your mind in kind of efficient approach, right? You go into brute force. So you say this is the brute force way that I'm doing, but I believe there is a better way which I'm not able to recall. Then you write it down, right? And then once you, or let's say you know the best approach, then you go with the best approach. And also you talk about brute force as well. What I'm trying to say is that try to say both side of the world. Interview is clear what you're trying to say, what you're trying to do. Then fourth point is going to be like try to touch base upon the time space complexity. Okay, how much time this what is the time space complexity, right? So you explain that and then you conclude. So make sure you will have only 45 minutes. You cover up all those areas, and then I think you should be good to go.
Thank you, Bhai. And I think we have just one more or two questions left. The next question is what are the skills or languages or libraries, frameworks that are dominating the market? What should we focus more as a fresher?
I didn't get you, Sanjay. Can you please repeat?
What are the languages or frameworks that are dominating right now in the market?
So for me, I think again, if you're going into AML, right? If you're interested to do it, I think Python is the best. So that's the top most popular language right now. But again, I think after Python there is Java definitely there for sure. If you want to be a full stack developer, you can write the front end in Java. You can write the back end in Java as well. So I think Java is one of the other popular language. Then there is Ruby on Rails, and if you want to do something at the lower level, like at the kernel level or at the driver level, definitely C++ is the guy that you should go for, right? I think these are the five that comes down to me. Okay. And then if you talk, I think you asked about the design pattern, right? The framework, right?
Yes, Bhai.
Yeah. So the framework, I mean, there are like a lot of frameworks. I don't have any straight answer for that, but again, when you try to do stuff, you will get to know. Okay, let's say for example, uh, so like I'll talk about design pattern, right? So when like you try to, let's say for example, develop something like Netflix, right? So then you'll get to know, okay, what do you like? Are you going to use PopSub model, or you're going to use anything else? All I'm saying is that as you grow in your career path, you will be more experienced, and you'll get to know, okay, which way you need to go, you need to go, and which way you need to do, and grow from there. So I think that's pretty much it comes down to me.
And for I can answer from an ML engineer's perspective. So Python is definitely the mostly used language in ML space, mainly because the library, they release most of these libraries either in C or Python, but mostly like they build a wrapper around C and release the library in Python. So most of the libraries are available in Python. And especially for NLP, the if you want to, let's say, if you want to learn, I don't think that's anyway the right way to approach this problem. Like understanding something, I don't think you should target a particular library. Rather, like you should learn about the problem, learn about the fundamental details, and then jump on to preparing the solution. And I think while you are preparing the solution, you will come across these libraries. But if you want to just get the names of certain libraries, I would say Hugging Face is one very popular library in the NLP space right now. Like whatever you say, GPT, Chat GPT, BERT, all these transformer based models, they are actually built, mostly they are built on top of the Hugging Face library. So that is one very popular library. But yeah, again, as I said, I don't think you should think about targeting certain libraries if we are talking about the ML space.
I think just to second to all, Manas covered and Tanmay Bhai mentioned Python too. Python is something which I see like Sadabahar, as we call it. It's evergreen, because even any related to data field, anything, I think Python is the way to go. And again, I'm a little bit far now, but I think that again, to Manas's point, that is very important. What's the problem we are solving? And that lot of companies I see have so much internal frameworks. Like in Meta, there was a hack language. Hack, that was what was used to build. It was a version of some modified version of Python and all. But there are a lot of internal things you'll find as you see work in the company itself. So fundamentally connecting to Python, Java, I think is good. And then seeing what are the standard things which you solve, and just having the ability to make the connect wherever you go, because there may be different framework for something internal specific to the company as you go along as well.
And yeah, and this is something. Sorry, Didi, if I interrupted you.
No. Go ahead.
And this is something someone during our Microsoft training said. Actually, you should never think about targeting any programming language. If you are a programmer, you should not be biased towards learning certain programming languages, because once you are into industry and once you work on various programming languages, right, there will be a point you will realize that you can pick up any programming language in a day or two. So learning the syntax or learning the programming language is not going to be a problem for you anymore. But what will stick with you in the long run is your fundamentals, your object oriented programming concepts, your programming fundamentals. So if you are good at it, I don't think like picking up any programming language is going to be challenging, especially all these like new age programming languages like Python, Golang, and things like that.
Yeah, I'll just give you an example. So I have my immediate senior, Chittaranjan Panda. He is a vice president right now. He's a vice president in I believe Whereas Networks. Yeah. So that guy, he was a damn fan of programming in C language, and also the operating system, right? So pretty junior to us, so you're not even in the college that time. So he was literally throughout his career, like throughout his time in CET, he only thing he did is he wrote programs in C, right? So because that was his passion, he really loved C, and he started writing the all the programs in C. And I still remember when I used to go room number 7. So like he will write literally like fantastic, like very fascinating the guy is biking, like literally he will write like a few thousands of lines of code, and by executing you'll see different fascinating stuff. And believe it or not, he just passed out from college, then he started writing driver level code at kernel and stuff. And then now he's in the telecom domain. He has been in telecom domain since day one, and then he's doing pretty awesome. So again, everything, like I said, I think even Manas and Supriya also covered, like you can pick any language, but only thing is that you should be really passionate about, you should really love what you're doing. Once you are there, I think nobody can stop you. I just gave you a live example. I saw it in my own eyes from my college days. Maybe you can bring that guy, Chittaranjan Pandav, damn talented guy, in one of your panels sometime in the future.
Okay, bhai, thank you very much for answering that. I think we have got through all the questions. Uh, there is not anything remaining. So, thank you very much. You have been great. We have been very fortunate to hear from all of you. And anything you would like to suggest us for our upcoming placements, which is starting from August, and we are having our second semester in MCA this July 24, and then we'll be sitting for our placement. So anything you can suggest, and then we can conclude this.
From my side, I think two things. First thing is clear your basics, right? Don't make yourself like too confused in tons of different things, because the world is filled with tons of data. If you just run behind each and everything, you'll be like totally lost. So just clear your basics, be confident, and be strong, like what you are doing, and just I think that's all. I think you'll be good to go. And like I think I was so one of the key thing I just learned 2 weeks back, I was watching Ramayana, and I think Lord Ram said, because when he was going to marry Sita, right? So then the Lakshman, he was very excited. He was like, oh, you are going to break the Shiv Dhanus, and then you're going to marry Sita Mata and stuff, right? And then he said, Lakshman, you should not be excited about the result, rather you should focus on your duty. So that was the key for me. Like, just focus on your duty, like focus what you are doing and how you are doing, and be good at it, and that's all. Everything will fall in place. So that's first thing. Second thing is that, like I kind of already told, so I would like to be a participant next time, definitely, but I would like to have you guys take the initiative, kind of bring both the world together, BTech and MCA, and then bring a lot of because like I said, CET has produced a lot of talented folks, and they are sitting in all over the world. I'm sure you are going to get a lot of knowledge and a lot of insights from each of them. But if you guys can do it, that'll be great. That's all. Thank you.
Sorry to interrupt you, bhai, but this is the collaborative effort of both MCA and BTech students. BTech students have joined in the YouTube stream. But there are questions too from them. But I think the number is various. We'll try to do that. We'll try to increase that in the next session. Hopefully.
Oh, that's great. I didn't know that BTech students also are here. That's awesome. Because that was one of the challenge for us when I was in the college. That's what I just want to make sure that that barrier is kind of broken.
Yes, by we're constantly trying to balance that demographic.
Yeah, if you want my help, I think I am in very close touch with few of the folks during my time. Vinayak Nanda and Rajvansh Joshi and all, they're in East Coast. I can definitely talk to them, and they can help you out as well. Sanjay.
Okay, bhai, we will try for the next session. And Diti, Manas bhai and Reality, you can ask your suggestions.
I think I talked so much about that aspect, right? Like, sure that the fundamentals are cleared. That matters in all these videos. That is what would come across very clearly. So make sure that that's brushed up. Be confident, as Bhai said. I would add from my experience that If you don't get through the first one, there's the second one, there's the third one, that don't get disheartened. I can tell you how upset I was when I didn't get Infosys. And now when I look back, it's such a small thing. Like it's just a small step in the journey. So please don't get disheartened. Every interview you do is a learning. Take some time to reflect on what you could have done better. Even if you did it great, just reflect that what could have been better. Try to observe yourself. Try to prepare, especially for behavioral questions, try to prepare also certain answers, that what are your strengths. Think deeply about those as well. I think end of the day that matters a lot as well. So fundamentals, being confident, not getting disheartened, and making sure you take time to introspect and plan your answers. I think that would be my tip.
Yeah, but nothing extra to add from my side. But yeah, before wrapping up, I would like to say, I'm really impressed the way you have, put together all the questions. All of these questions were very mature, I would say, at least for, people like students of your age. If you are, as I'm going to repeat myself, like 10:30 in the morning on a Sunday, if you're talking with a bunch of alumni, discussing about your careers, then you're already on the right track. So don't worry about it. Yeah, all the best for your for your placements. As Didi also said, don't be disheartened by anything that may come across your way. And yeah, clear your fundamentals, and most like above all, I would say enjoy the day of your placement. It is your day, so enjoy the process, and don't be afraid of, I would say, rejections. Like own your own rejections. Quickly, like I would like to add something from my experience, just to give you an idea. Like before, especially during my masters, I had nearly 600 to 700 rejection emails that is still there in my inbox. Before I could land a single internship. So I think, yeah, rejection is definitely something that will make you learn. So don't be afraid or don't be disheartened by rejections. Yeah, that's all I have to say. And yeah, all the best for your placements.
Yeah. All the best, everyone.
All the best.
Thank you for having us here.
Yeah, thank you.
Yeah, thank you, bhai. Yeah, bhai, this is marks the end of our stream. You can stay a little bit for some informal conversation with us. But we are ending the stream now.
Sure, I'm fine. It's 10:46 though for us. 10:46 night. I don't know about Supriya. So Supriya has a small kid, and but I'm fine. I can be here for some time. And yeah.
I want to be here because I wanted to talk with Tanmay bhai and Didi because we all are living in the same city and I didn't know. So
Yeah. So Manas, what's your phone number, Manas?
भाई ये रे ही अछि ग्रुप रे तो अछि मु एटर
ओ तमर से जो WhatsApp रे अछि नै कि
हां भाई
मो समय भाबितली कि तमे इंडिया रे अछो बोली बट ठीक अछि मो ताले सेठ नै जिबी
हां भाई हां कथा हबा हां ना भले मु जानि नथिली माने